You're tuned in to Ask the Master Auto Technician. Car questions? Get answers right now. Call 850-763-0555.
James Auto Center, we fix it right, guaranteed. Beep, 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 yeah.
All right, good morning, everybody. This is Friday morning's edition of Ask the Master Auto Technician. The Friday morning show is where we take Hansson Hindenburg from Baytown Tires, and we talk about concerns that you may have about your car. Maybe it's your tires, your alignment, how often you should have certain things done as far as maintenance, as far as rotations and balance. And this is where Hansson comes in and says, yes, I'm right, or yes, I'm wrong. And sometimes he has some really good ideas on taking care of cars. Hansson, how are we doing this morning, sir?
Doing great. How are you?
I'm doing great. We're trying to make sure that we get cars ready for springtime. Believe it or not, the busy time of the year is fixing to come, where everybody takes their spring break holiday. And it falls right behind Thanksgiving, what's fixing to happen, and people are going to be on the road traveling. And I know that there's a lot of cars out there that are traveling with unsafe tires, and they need to be made safer by either checking the tire pressure in them or replacing them, and even doing alignments and things like that that affect the way how tires last and how long how the car handles.
Well, sometimes people really don't think about the tires themselves. They just think about the symptoms like noise or pulling, and unfortunately, we wind up seeing quite a bit over and over again.
Right. And every time you get on the phone, I call you, that phone rings. I think we got it down. We need to keep this up. That makes the phones ring. It never fails. They call, but on tires. The biggest thing that a lot of people look at, they just look at the tread, and they say, okay, I got plenty of tread in the middle. I don't have as much tread on the outside edge and as much tread on the inside edge, but I've got plenty of tread in the middle. And I look at it and say, well, if you're wore out on the inside and outside edge, there's a strong possibility that tire may be separated. And I get the strangest look when people tell me that separated. How can that be? And then I explain to them how the car has been driven with the tire underinflated, and it makes the tire get hot and can make the belt separate on this vehicle.
Or even repairs. We see quite a few tires that the tire was repaired a few months ago, and unfortunately either it shouldn't have been repaired or the repair was done improperly, and then the tire has a tendency to come apart.
Now, speaking of that, on repairs, how is the best way to repair a tire? You and I, we've talked about it, but it's been a while. A lot of people think that, putting a plug in is all you need to do. And some people say, no. You've got to, take the tire apart and put a patch in. And some people say, no, you don't need to do that. That's a waste of money. And you and I know that there's a combination of both those things that need to be done.
Well, we call it a plug patch, which is really a patch that has, a little, almost looks like a plug sticking from it to fill the hole in, to make sure that water has a tendency to get in that hole and starts to eat away at the steel belted radials that are inside the tire, and that's another thing that will make the tire separate over time.
So a lot of people say, what are you talking about, James? I said, well, imagine this is what they tell us to do. When a car has a tire that you need that has a nail in it, just taking the tire and taking a plug kit and plugging the tire while it's on the car is not a proper repair. If I did that, charge the customer for it, then something happens to the tire, I could be held negligent because I didn't inspect the tire. And that's one of the things you told me, that tires must be inspected to make sure they haven't been run flat. And if anyone doesn't have that special type plug patch, they can do it with a two-step method. They can find the nail, remove the nail, put a plug in with it, with the tire off, put the plug in, then cut the plug off where it's inside the tire, then put a patch on, and that is a proper repair. Am I saying that correctly?
Yeah, that's absolutely right. So that two-step method, like you were talking about, is very acceptable. And you just have to make sure that you take the tire off the rim and look inside. A lot of times the tire looks okay from the outside, and you look inside the tire, and the sidewall on the inside has started to come apart or starts to flake, which means that it started to degrade, and the pieces of the inside sidewall comes apart. So you fix the tire, put it back on there, and you didn't check the inside of the tire and you go down the road, the sidewall has a tendency to want to blow out, and we try to avoid that as much as possible.
I would try to avoid that too. I would definitely try to avoid that. Now, speaking of sidewalls, the inside of the tire, what it looks like, you told me that one of the things that you were surprised about a few years ago is when some of these cars come with Fix-A-Flat as a spare tire. Like my wife's Crossfire, there's no spare tire in it, or her Miata, I don't think there's spare tire, they gave her Fix-A-Flat. And I said, okay, great, you got that? I said, you know, I remember putting it in lawnmower tires years ago, and then, you know, after about a season, I go to look at the lawnmower tire, and it's rotten, you know, and I couldn't figure out what happened. And you tell me that Fix-A-Flat stuff will destroy the inside of a tire if it's left inside there.
But we see it a lot. Again, separation is winds up being the cause, and we take the tire off and we look inside. Oh yeah, I was going flat, and I put Fix-A-Flat in it about a month ago, and it starts to rot the tire from the inside.
Wow.
It's petroleum based in most cases. So when it's inside the tire, it actually starts to eat away at the rubber from the inside, and of course it starts to come apart.
So,
Fix-A-Flat is a temporary repair.
yeah.
And realistically, to do it right, you have to take the tire off, wash the Fix-A-Flat out, and they really recommend that you almost let the tire dry after that for about a day.
Whoa.
So most people don't do that because the Fix-A-Flat makes the rubber kind of gelatin-like on the inside. So if you stick a patch on there, it might not stick well. So that's their recommendation, and most people don't want to do that. So in most cases, we can fix it that same day, but a lot of times people go like, why? Because they've put 3 or 4 cans of Fix-A-Flat in there. You can't even fix it that same day.
Wow. How long does it take for Fix-A-Flat to make a mess on a tire where you can't do anything with it, even if you let it dry out and wash it out? And you're saying, what is it, a week's time maybe, or 3 days?
Yeah, I've seen them as little as 2 or 3 days, where it really almost start to eat the inside, and it really depends on how much you put in there. And I've seen people try to avoid at any cost to get the tire fixed, and they put like 3 or 4 cans of Fix-A-Flat in there.
Oh,
so
wow.
and then within a matter of days, the inside of the tire is eaten up.
Now, there is something we put in tires out there. Don't they make something you can put in tires to keep them from leaking that doesn't destroy the tires?
There's a product that's green slime.
Yeah, I didn't
And
have
they put some of those even, like you said, you have a Mercedes offspring like the Crossfire.
Right.
You get a bottle of that green slime, and you can put it in the tire, and it works much better. It's still a temporary fix.
Oh,
but
okay.
It works better, and it doesn't destroy the tire from the inside.
Okay, well, I didn't know if it worked. I didn't know if there was anything preventative, because that you could put in a tire, because like construction workers, I've seen them, and they come in there and they start doing roofing. They come in with a dozen nails in their tires at the end of a week, and they can't imagine why their tires are going flat. But there were someone was talking about putting something that's preventative to keep those, to seal the tires up from leaking as they get nails. And I go, I don't know if that's going to work very well.
Well, I mean, you could. I've seen it, they put that green slime in some of these tires, and it does seem to work, but it makes there's a foreign substance inside the tire, so the tire doesn't want to balance as well, so you wind up having drivability issues, like vibrations, and also with the TPMS sensors in the tire, a lot of times they wind up getting clogged up with that stuff too.
Ooh, that's true. I didn't think about that.
So if you have an older car with a regular valve stem, it's probably okay.
Yeah.
But if you have a new car, like some of these trucks, they have sensors inside each one of the tires. Not a great idea.
No, not a $200 a sensor to replace.
Right, exactly.
Not very good on that. Okay, so now, do they make a tire? Doesn't Uniroyal, Tiger Paw, aren't they resistant to nails and things like that? I know
they used to make the nail guard, which had which is like a tar-like substance in the tread that sealed themselves up. But the problem they found with that too, especially in hotter climates like down here, this stuff kind of started to melt a little bit and move around inside the tire, and again, they wound up having drivability problems like vibration.
Now, speaking of vibration, I have a big box truck here, and the tires are so big on them, they're hard to put on the machine to balance. And you sold something to me years ago, and it really works well. It's like little balls of glass that goes inside the tires I guess it's a static balance.
Right. They look like balls of glass, but they're actually nylon. So
I don't know what they are.
the static electricity that the tire builds up, which you talked about
Right.
it before, with wheel bearings and things like that. It actually builds up electricity. And what happens with these nylon balls is they like to migrate to the lowest spot of the tire, and that's where they wind up sticking. And the tire is balanced basically all the time.
Yeah,
So
it's
if
a
the
self-balancing.
lower spot changes on the rim or anything like that, they migrate to that spot.
So that's a self-balancing tire you're talking about.
And people are like, oh, that doesn't. It really does work. And truckers have used this for
Yeah.
about 40 years.
Well, I used it. I was kind of like I did the same thing. I went, "You're going to tell me I can put these little balls in there? It's going to balance my tires?" Yep. I don't believe you. Well, you put them in there, and you go drive it, and it may take about a half a mile to a mile before all of a sudden you get up to speed. All of a sudden you see the vibration just starts to go away. And if you, and it is fine. If I drive the car every day, I don't have a problem. But if I let the truck sit for like a month and I go drive it, I have to drive it about a mile before it starts to smooth out. I guess it loses that static electricity and the balls
right,
fall
and
down.
the balls just fall to the bottom of the tire, and then, like you said, usually within 1 to 5 miles, it's back balanced again.
Now,
and all of the motorhomes and larger trucks, that's what we use.
Okay.
Because it's difficult to balance the tires, and you don't usually rotate and balance the tires that often. The motorhome will sit there for 6 months, and realistically, the tires really need to be rebalanced at that time.
Absolutely. Now, what about these great big mudder tires? We got about a minute and a half left. These jacked up trucks. Would that be something you'd recommend for those?
Oh, absolutely, because a lot of times, they're huge tires and they're very difficult to begin with, or some of the rims have been through the woods 50 times and they're bent a little bit.
Well, yeah.
To be able to achieve a decent balance, we've done it for years. Just put the beads in there, and 9 times out of 10, the vibration seems to go away.
I figured it would work because you know how those big truck tires get mud in the wheels and everything, which of course throws your balance off. So if you have the little balls inside there and you've gone in the woods and you got mud all over it, by the time you get on the highway and drive 2 or 3 miles, your tires are rebalanced again. It's pretty amazing. And I think that's especially in something as big, because those are not smooth tires no matter what you do. They're not smooth tires from the get-go. They're monster tires. What are those called? 31.5s now? 30? I have no idea what.
Well, we're putting them on as big as 24 inches, 35, 1250, 24s. I put on not long ago, and their tire came on pallets because they're so big they can't be shipped regularly. So, yeah. And this gentleman had 5 of them on a souped-up Hummer, and that's what he liked. But the tires were almost as tall as I was by the time we were putting them on there.
That sounds like about $3,000 worth of tires, just the tires.
Tires pretty expensive. They were about $1,800 a piece. That's just one tire.
Just one tire. Oh, wow! We're talking almost $7,000 for tires. Just the tires.
And we always stress, protect your investment and keep them rotated. Some of these guys have got a fortune invested in tires and rims. So like you said, $8,000 to $10,000 sometimes.
That's pretty impressive. So you would use the balls in a tire like that?
Absolutely.
I had no idea. Anyway, I learned a lot, Hansson. Thank you so much for being on here. If people want to get up with you about checking out their tires, alignments, whatever, 873-8900, and there goes the phone.
There goes the phone.
There they know. All right, talk to you later.
Have a great week.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye-bye now.
James Auto Center, we fix it right.